Well, I'll call this story You Should Have Stayed at Home. It's about a trip to the Lake Districts with a then girlfriend in the 90s, early 90s, Linda, on a motorbike with a tent. Let's go to Pooley Bridge for a night, have a nice little weekend trip out and come back. We did that sort of thing quite regularly, and this weekend we really shouldn't have bothered because it was just disaster after disaster, mishap. You couldn't make it up kind of thing. Jinxed. Should have stayed at home. So let's build a picture. I had a little Kawasaki KH250 twin 2-to-1 job, and I'd bought it for £50. It was a complete knacker, and I'd spent the money fixing it up. In fact, I'd been banned off the road from a stupid drinking and driving event, and I was coming back on the road. This is my first bike. I'd passed my test and everything before being banned, and I fixed this little Kawasaki up, got it on the road, and it was my little pride and joy. We went everywhere on it. And so me and Linda said, right, we'll go camping at the lakes. And we set off. Take that nice scenic route through Weardale, out Durham, through Weardale, go up to Alston, through Hartside Pass, and then you're down towards Pooley Bridge. And is it Pooley Bridge? Penrith. The Pooley Bridge is beyond where, that's where we're heading. Now, it's only a little bike. I think we both got backpacks on of some description. Linda's carrying quite a lot of it on her back. And it's a flat seat. And there's no real rack for putting your stuff on. I just tie the cylinder of the tent and a few things behind the grab rail above the rear light and number plate as firmly as possible. And Linda's in front of that with a big bum, which comes into play later on. Lovely bum. Anyway, so we chug off on this 250, overloaded, off to the lakes, fairly event-free. And where are we? We get out at Penrith, and we're heading down a bit of dual carriageway, and there's a turn off that takes you down to Pooley Bridge, and I think we're just ahead of that. And the first of the shit starts happening. We're sailing down the road and I'm doing 50, 60 mile an hour towards the next junction, and I want to see where we're going, and the bike suddenly starts juddering like fuck. Like you're in a fucking washing machine on spin. The back end's juddering away like fuck. What the fuck's going on? You're looking back, see if there's anything in the wheels and that. We pull over, what the fuck? Linda doesn't know. Look at the bike, it looks fine, but there's a burning smell. Where the fuck's that coming from? And look back over, and the tent, and Linda's lovely bum, shuffling about and everything, and lack of space, pushed the tent and everything else over the back of the light mounting in the number plate, and the wheel caught it and whipped the tent along with its poles and everything straight, shot it forward and up against the suspension arms and springs. And it's jaddering against that, bouncing about in the gap. And I pull it out. You know how tense are in these fabric sausages, and there's to the poles in the middle, there's like something just took a fucking tire-shaped bite out of this tent bag. I'm looking, every tent's fucked. Shit. And then there's like, what are we going to do? Should we go home? Now, there's words of wisdom from a woman that I should have listened to in that moment, and I wish I had. Instead of being the cavalier, gung-ho, Mr. Survivalist, I can overcome any problems, no matter what they are. There's a will, there's a way, we'll get through. I should have listened to her, and I wish I bloody had. Should we go home? Yeah, the tent's fucked. I think we should go back. No, let's get there. Let's see what sort of state it is. It might not be that bad. Right, so pack, secure everything again. It's only a few miles now to our destination. We're almost there. We might as well. Fuck it. If we stay for a few hours, we can come back. Yeah, go on then. So we finally get to the campsite. We proper book in, and we get everything out of the bags and proceed to set up the tent. Well, that's if you can call it a tent. It's more like a sort of Swiss cheese tent, really. Having a zip door was irrelevant now. You could just walk through and the hole in the side of the tent, both layers, and lie down. And with other holes. I'm like, Christ, it's like a piece of Swiss cheese, this tent. Fuck. So I'm round at the site office. You got any sheets of polythene, polythene bags, fertilizer bags. Why? This is a damaged tent. I've got a spare tent. Nope. Right, you've got any poly bags? Yes, right. So proceed to get. I've got some parcel tape. I've always got loads of useful things. I've got some of that brown parcel tape in my bag. I ended up like patching up the tent with fertilizer bags and any fucking bit of plastic and get hands right. And it's summer, the weather's mild. We're not going to get rained off on this one. So that's the tent sorted. It's a temporary fix. We're surviving. We start getting things out of the bag. Now taking a radio cassette player, kind of little cassette player of the time, and that got accidentally switched on whilst we were riding along, and the batteries are dead now because the fucking cassette or the radio was running the whole time. We never knew. So that's dead. I've got a torch at the time which took those big 9-volt block batteries with the big springs on, big beamy torch, and they don't last long, but they give off a great light. Somehow that got broken. The lens cup was broken. The bulb was out. It wouldn't work anymore. So I ended up ripping it apart, taking the battery out, managing to get some wire from somewhere. I managed to cobble the little light bulb so it would strap across the spring terminal so we could have some light in the tent, and run a couple of wires off and try and get the radio fired up a bit because it ran on a similar voltage. So I restored a bit of lighting and power, and we got polythene repaired tent. Great! We're sorted. Let's go to the pub. So we have a great night in the pub. We've had a meal with drinks are flowing, the pair of us. We're having a laugh together as a young couple. Many of the young couples out and holiday people. And we're all together in the pub playing pool, getting smashed a bit. Lovely time. Stagger back to the tent. And promptly fall through the fucking side of the tent because I pissed and tripped over something and had to repair the tent in the semi-darkness. Couldn't make it up. Now coming back, after all, I think we only stayed one night. We were going to stay two. Oh, what was it? No, it was a Saturday. We weren't doing the one night, that's right. We came back on the Sunday. And so we packed up and got out of Pooley Bridge without a hitch. And roaring back home on this bleak Sunday morning, slightly bleary off the night before, cold, and you're riding along. And we're tearing into Alston, and the roads into Alston. As you approach Alston from the west, you've got to cross a bridge. There's a river, Gardner, on that side. And the road leading to Alston curves round and dips down a big straight down towards the bridge where you're taking a practical 90 across the bridge. Fields all around its farm area. And just ahead of Alston Bridge, on the west side, me and Linda come tear-arsing round the corner. 60, 70 mile an hour. And we pass a fork in the road and there's a sign, and I'm suddenly sure just keep going, or should I have been down there? I don't know. And I am going a bit quick for where we're going now. Just ease the front brake as we're riding along, and the bike completely dies. What the fuck? country, they were a mile or more outside of Alston, this bike's dead. What the fuck? We get off, can't get it started, take the side casing off, look at the fuses, one of the main fuses got... Why? Everything's been fine. No water, nothing. What the fuck's going on? It's been raining. It's just bleak, cold. So I get a spare, in it goes. I think, do I do that? No, I haven't got a spare. That's it. That's what. This is another stupid thing I did. That's right. I didn't have a spare. Mr. Man who carries around loads of tools and spares didn't have a spare for his motorbike. That's it. And didn't think to make a fuse wire either, even though I had the means. So I just coupled the two ends of the wire fuse holders together. Hope for the best. Job. Where was my head in the moment? Yeah. Well, I paid the price cost. So the moment I do that, I can get the bike started again at the top of this hill now, looking down towards where the bridge is. And the bike's running. And Linda climbs onto the back, and because she's got on, and we just move a little bit, and I apply the front brake just to steady us. Guess where the fault on the wiring was? Right there. Bastard. Next thing you know, I hear this click and a hiss, and plumes of white smoke now pour from the bike, and it's still running, the engine's running, and there's white smoke pouring from the wiring. I was like, oh, shit. And the seat wasn't locked, it never was, and you just flick it up, and you're immediately into the battery box. I've got my gloves on, I just sink my hand either side of the battery, all my strength, just like that, because everything else is on fire and melting. And I just go for it and wrench the battery and rip off the earthing side to the battery. Fuck the battery, which is practically boiled dried in the moment. The bike's fucked. And we're in the middle of nowhere on a Sunday morning in a bleak, miles out of Alston. And after everything that's happened beforehand. My stupid decision not to find the fault properly, but hurried. So we end up pushing this little 250 bike a mile or so into Alston with full camping gear on, fucked by the time we get there. It's the 90s, no mobile phones, no internet. Alston's a little village that's practically dead on a Sunday. I used what coinage we had to phone my dad, who wouldn't come out because he couldn't get a vehicle to carry the bike. I asked my mates, they were either hammered off the night before or not available. Fucked we were. And the last ditch attempt, I asked Linda to go into the village while I'm phoning people, maybe down to the local garage there, and there's a local petrol filling station. Go ask. So she went and fluttered her eyes down there, and luckily she came back with some bloke and his fuck off size Hilux truck. And we'll pay him whatever it is to get us back to Durham, and gratitude to get him back home and everything. It's a long drive for him. Thank you very much, sir. You know, fucking lifesaver. So we haul my knackered Kawasaki Cage 250 up the back of his Hilux, the pair of us, wheelie it on first, and then we lift the back end on, lift it and drop it on, the pair of us. And as it bounces up on the back tailgate, the fucking back tyre went bust on something. Flat. It had just had a new racing tyre put on a month or so before. Cost a good bit of money. A nice curved profile so you can get the cornering. Fucked on something. I was like, Christ, well, the whole bike needs fucking rebuilding now anyway. Right. And then to make matters worse, there's not enough seats up front for me. He's only got 2 seats in the cab. Him driving and Linda in the seat. So I have to sit in a Hilux with my bike gear on and no proper head protection. Sometimes I put my helmet back on, hanging on to my bike that was strapped on there on a horrible Sunday morning. From Alston to Durham in the back of a Hilux like a fucking sheep and a knackered motorbike. I was fucking nithered. How I never ended up with fucking pneumonia after that one. Every time I'm looking through the back window and say, you fucking chatter up and I'm putting a brick through this fucking window. We'll be off the road as I'm threatening you with a fucking seatbelt. If you fucking trying to chat her up whilst we're driving along, you cunt. You know, I should be in there with you. I'm fucking freezing out here. No, we're very grateful to the farmer. And we paid him well for his kindness. We got back home, got the bike off, and it fucking took weeks to fix the bastard. Stripping it all down to the frame, peeling off the melted wiring, acquiring the wire from the place I worked. I had fucking reels of wire with all the colour and the codeds I needed. So I planned everything out, stole the wire I needed, spent hours on a night time rebuilding the harness on this little bike. In a matter of weeks, I'd done it, fixed it all back up, and I was back on the road again. But that weekend, man, just catalogue of failures and errors, and it should have never have left. Going back to the very start of the story when the tent was burnt through the tyre, by the tyre, and Linda said, do you think we should go home? And the words of wisdom from a woman, from Linda, I should have listened to. Yes, love, I think that's a fucking good idea. Let's go back home and do something else. In hindsight, would have been the best thing to do. So there we go. Fucking disaster weekend at the lakes. You know, I wouldn't want to live through that one again. Catch you later.